This hangout on air is live. That's what the sign says. Hello there. Keithy Broom and Prem Johal is here with me today and no one else at the moment. Just checking that we're coming through for all the people watching. And yes, we are live and you can hear me. So very, very good. We've got a few people watching already. They've been patiently waiting, Prem, for tidbits of valuable information from you and whatever I can offer. So there's been a lot of new people watching our Hangouts every Monday. This is number 7, lucky number 7, if you believe in numerology. And you're a numbers man, Prem, so I want to go into a little bit of your history, which is exactly why I asked you on tonight. And I know Karen's watching, but I signed up under you in Swiss Gold Global, Prem. So I better say g'day to you first before you give you a hard time. Prem, how are you, mate?
I'm well, Keithy. Thank you very much. Hello, everybody. Great to be here. Actually, so privileged that I was even asked by Keithy to be on a hangout, and hopefully there'll be a lot more of these. And what we tend to do is literally give value constantly and all the time. So the value is for you to take and receive as much as you can, but our job is to just keep churning out as much as we can in terms of what we know, what little we know from the specific industry in which we're dealing in. So yeah, it's a great privilege to be here. I'm doing very well. It's raining in England, not 32 degrees like where Keithy is. And unfortunately, I have water-absorbing hair on my head, whereas Keithy just gets burnt. So yeah, thanks for having me. And
that's all right, mate. The sunburnt countries where I live, I did get sunburnt walking the dogs this morning at 8 in the morning. She was really hot. Interestingly enough, that at my local park where I do walk my dogs, there's a guy who's built his own little trailer and sells coffee. He's a Korean guy, very enterprising, but he puts every time I go and get a coffee and pay $4, it's an awesome coffee. He gets the beans from New Zealand. They're a New Zealand roast. Not that New Zealand's renowned for coffee beans, but the roaster is. He puts a lot of time and effort in to his business. And so what I was thinking about when I get my coffee off him, what he should be doing instead of the man hours, the physical man hours he puts in. So I want to talk to how tonight, the main sort of thing is about Swiss Gold Global, the big sign in the background there, how people can benefit with this business passively, part-time, that doesn't really interrupt their life at the moment because everyone's heading in the same direction. That's hopefully to fulfillment of their living their life with their family, friends, or on their own, or whatever the case may be. But how they get there to make it as easy for them as possible, we can help. At Swiss Gold Global, we can definitely help. So what I want to talk to you about tonight, Prem, is a couple of things about Bitcoin and the different coins and everything. But I must tell people straight off the bat that I did when I joined the business. I spoke to Prem couple of months before I joined, and I joined. This is day 124 for me in Swiss Gold Global, 124 days. Not on keeping count. But prior to that, I spoke to Bill, the owner, and yourself on a Skype call just to sort of analyse the business and get a bit of background. And then I actually joined you, Prem. I signed up as an affiliate. I went straight to being an affiliate with you. And then you dropped me. Then you dumped me, mate. Then you palmed me off to Karen, which in hindsight, Karen's watching. Hello, Karen. In hindsight, is a very good thing, Prem, because you've disappeared a couple of times, whereas Karen's been there, and I mean that in the nicest way. Karen's fantastic with the business, but having you as part of the team I'm in is brilliant. So that's why I've called on you tonight to give us a bit of expertise. Now, my 30 seconds of history is, if you don't know me, Keithy Broom, I live in Brisbane, been online for about 3.5 years, been involved in different types of online businesses, put a lot of money into a few, like 100 there, 200 there, 500, 1,000. and probably burnt $3,000 or $4,000 over a couple of years, which is not too bad really, and got about $100 back for that until I got into the revenue share industry, and I made quite a bit of money on that. And then I got exposed to Bitcoin about 18 months ago and started learning. Now that business has come to a halt, and I've joined Swiss Gold Global, day 124. And the knowledge I've gained from that business of being involved in online business and the other couple of businesses before have all collectively given me the knowledge I have now. I've been following Prem for a couple of years when I first met him, and into Swiss Gold Global. Now my knowledge is really expanding at a tremendous rate. And the reason is Bitcoin and altcoins and the cryptocurrencies and this massive, it's not a machine, but this currency growing across the world in a very positive, helpful way for people individually. So I'm deeply involved in Swiss Gold Global and trying to tell people very basically how Bitcoin works and how it operates, how it can help individuals on a day-to-day basis, and then in times to come, like because you've got to think short term, and that'd be a week or a month. Then we got to think medium, 3, 6, 9, 12 months, then long term, 2 to 5 years of how it can help me individually, and then the friends I introduce to the business and their families, and as it exponentially goes out over the coming years, it's pretty exciting. So I want to tap into your information tonight, Prem. So first off, just introduce yourself to everybody, and I'll shut up for a little while, and you just tell us what it's all about yourself, that is. Then we'll get into the business after that, Prem. So away you go, mate.
Sure, thank you, Keithy. So everybody, I'm actually an economist by education, and I spent 15 years in the City of London in wealth management. This is the sort of highest level of wealth management there is. So the clients were people who had 2 or 3 million to throw around, those kind of people. General net worth 25 to about $1 billion. That's the kind of client I used to deal with. So it was the deep end, really, because the job requires not just being officially registered and qualified for various financial asset classes and products, but also at the same time for being in a position where I'm able to paraphrase to these clients who are already made it, right? They've already done that, but paraphrase to them what's happening currently in the world. So one of my skills I had to develop is to keep an eye on geopolitics, on the things happening around the world, and movements, what country is doing what, and those kind of things. That's my background. And then I got fed up because, to be honest with you, I was making wealthy people even wealthier. I was good at what I was doing. And yet at the same time, it was always the bosses above me that were taking away the bonuses. And I got my bonuses, don't get me wrong, but the lion's share of my hard work became somebody else's reward. That is a Ponzi scheme that is banking, generally speaking. So I got a little bit annoyed that no matter what I do, somebody else always keeps making the money. I need to find a better way of doing things. So I decided to, first of all, help normal people such as myself and my other peers. The thing is, too many of them are sort of starstruck by their so-called career that they think that a job is the only thing that's going to save them. They don't realize that they're actually losing money being in a job. I can explain that in numbers if you want. But I realized, no, my effort is worth a lot more. So therefore, I need to do something where my effort is proportionate to, my pay is proportionate to my effort. Now, I can work anytime I want. And Keithy mentioned I've disappeared a couple of times. Now, why have I disappeared a couple of times? I had health issues and some personal issues that were quite tough on me. I had a sciatica problem, so I could neither sit nor sleep nor walk nor do anything. It's a really bad pain in the back. It's a nervous thing. A nerve gets kind of twisted and you just can't move. You're paralyzed. So I had that. I was on severe medications. I tried to get a bit of a break by going on a camping holiday. That made it even, that didn't make the sciatica worse, but that basically took me offline even longer. Guess what? If I was in an ordinary job, that would spell disaster for my coming January bonus. Why? Because this guy is constantly sick, he's not performing, blah, blah, blah. But no, I've been building this business for just over 15 months. I joined, I got to know June last year, and I joined by July, and I've been building it up ever since. Now that I have built up a team, guess what? Everybody within the team, Karen included especially, but also Keithy, are building the team. They are doing their own business. They're building their own business. But I get a little bit as a thank you for introducing them into the business in the first place. So although I've had practically radio silence for just over 8 weeks, I've been offline most of the time. I haven't been as active as I have been in the past. I still have hundreds of messages to get back to. But despite all that, I'm still making money. I'm earning. The effort I put in initially is coming back to me now. I wasn't earning a lot in the first 6 months. I'll tell you that straight away, right? I was building. I was laying the foundations, and I was going for it with a very specific set of skills that I have developed. And these skills are something anybody can develop. You see, the beauty is we've picked the subject of money. Gold, silver, and Bitcoin are money. There's only so much you need to know about money. What you don't need to know about money is that everybody wants more. That's the easiest thing. So you don't have to sell it. There's no sales required. If you are earning, and if you can show how you're earning, you are already talking everybody's language. Everybody on the planet is singing from the same hymn sheet called money. Yeah? So it's actually a very easy subject. All you then have to do is understand, right, what do I need to know about this, this, and this? What do I need to know about money? So first of all, there's some re-education required most of the time. And the re-education is actually not that difficult. For example, when you borrow money, you're a sucker. You owe somebody back, and they own you, right? They don't just give you money. You have to pledge something in return. Some people sign their soul away to the devil. Some others pledge property to borrow money or a loan from a bank. If the money is yours and there is no borrowing attached to it, that then qualifies as wealth. So your wealth is what is actually your own. Now we are dealing with real wealth here, because when you have gold or silver or Bitcoin, no bank has a claim on it. No government has a claim on it, unless you're in North Korea, right? And if you think Australia or any other country is going to soon become like North Korea, then it's already the end of the world. We don't need to have this call at all. But we are living in an age of information. We are living with the internet on a daily basis. You're probably addicted to this little device here, and you're constantly on it, scrolling up and down and looking at what people are doing anyway. Whilst you're doing it, let us make some money by giving value. So that's what we do. We give value, and we try and keep it simple. Nothing I've said hopefully was anything too complicated, because ultimately it's a subject that is close to everybody's heart, and that is money. Even if you're a pious, righteous person, don't tell me you're paying your bills through prayers and blessings. You're paying money still. Even if you're, let's say, a church-going person, if you give your tithe or your first fruit offerings, your love gift, or any other kind of giving that you do, you would be doing that in terms of money, because the other party, your church or whatever organization you're giving to, they need to use that for something that they are doing, some project or whatever. In some cases, our American friends, they, the pastors like to fly private jets. So if you want to sponsor that, join one of those churches. But you get the point, right? Even the currency that makes things happen is money. Everybody knows about it. That's the only subject we have. So I joined Swissquote Global just close to 15 months ago, and I've never looked back. I've been building and building and building. In a normal job scenario, I'd be suffering right now a major crash in my career, but instead I'm continuing to thrive simply because it takes a little bit of effort to build it up, build up a team of people that want to take it to the next level. and they must see the sense and the reason why we're doing this. I have not met a single member of our organization that is not earning passively through the Bitcoin mining. There isn't one. And if they're not earning enough or not regularly enough, they just never put in enough money to begin with. But I was just telling Keithy a little earlier today, I have personally, I'm getting returns of over 1,000% per year. 1,000% per year, percent, yeah? This is a combination of the bonuses I've earned that are then producing even more money for me. And, you know, I can afford to take some time out and heal myself instead of popping painkillers and dragging myself into an office where even then, despite the pain and the sacrifice and being away from the children, being away from the family, commuting 2.5 hours a day, walking through, you know, soot-infested inner city, you know, and then watching your bonus being given up to somebody higher just because they sit in a glass cubicle and I've got just a desk with 6 monitors because that's the burden of information I have to deal with. That was my life. But my life right now is much better. I'm not that fit because I can't do much physical exercise for health reasons. I need to do more, but I'm struggling a little bit now. But other than that, my life is beautiful. Look, I'm actually in my living room right now, in my, well, dining room actually, because we converted the study into my son's little bedroom. But, you know, that's besides the point. I mean, I drop my kids to school. I pick them up. I make handmade sandwiches that they can take into school rather than, you know, buy from whatever they're making in a commercial kitchen over there. Quality of life is just through the roof. And that has enabled me to give a better meaning to my life instead of, you know, being part of the rat race. Because when you come out of the London Underground, you feel like you're like a rat going in and coming out. That's where the expression rat race. And at the end of the race, you're still a rat. So what's the point? You know, and a lot of high quality bankers I have known who had a bit of a conscious awakening because of the last credit crisis, 2008, 2009, and they saw what's going on is awful. It's devastating worldwide. Financially, it's crippling families and destroying people's achievements of a lifetime get wiped out in no time at all. A good few bankers I know, some became teachers. They went back to their native place and, you know, they want to give back to the community instead. I decided instead to do this kind of business, and I tried a few others. They didn't do very well. I finally found Swissquote Global because here the owner, as well as the business ethic behind it, is something that you will take it to the next level if you set your mind to it and agree to grow this business as a distributor of the finest quality of products and services known to man today. And I say this with confidence because I know what we supply. And at fair prices, without ripping anybody off. This is the beauty of our system. And it has enabled me to be financially free. I hope, with the help of Keithy, we can reach more people and bring this same freedom to you also. So yeah. I hope that wasn't a too long introduction, I hope.
That was more like a sermon from the Reverend Prem Johal. How I went from the dark hollows of merchant banking to the light of Bitcoin mining. Hallelujah. It's we'll get you a little collar next week, perhaps. But everything you said is true. It's people's wanting to get out of that rat race to be with their family, because that's what we're all here for. Most people's drive is to earn an income where they can relax. They haven't been tapped on the shoulder to do this, that, and the other. People are searching for an opportunity. And there are millions of opportunities out there, as you well know, Prem. And when you find one and you find a group of people with the same like mind, determination and go forward mentality, then it's a great place to be. And I'm in my infancy. I'm on day 124. That's 3.5 months. I'm only, hang on, 4 months. 4 months and 4 days. That's nothing. You've been in 15 months and it's changed your life completely. And as you rightly said, and this is a key point, 6 months, your first 6 months has just got to be putting that effort in, getting that ball rolling. It's a big Bitcoin ball that you've got, and you've got your hands on it, and you just got to push pretty hard for the 6 months to start the momentum going. And the way we do that basically is through our Bitcoin mining. And I want to just get you to a very brief, if you can. I know, Prem, brief doesn't come into your language. It's dissipated somewhere along the line, mate. The only brief thing you know, that's briefs, and you wear briefs. They're jockey underwear, mate. That's the only brief you wear. So try and keep it as brief, because I want to ask you some specific questions. I've got some good feedback about passive income here, having money work for you and not working the money. Love your banner, yeah, thank you in the background. Great time to buy contracts. Now, I just want to skip to coincap.io. That's the website I go to every morning. Bitcoin is now 3,768 US, up 2.64% in the last 24 hours. Ethereum, 289. That's a big jump. That was down to 235 last week. It has made 400. Bitcoin's made over 4,000. So there's a little bit of a dip and a sway. And the two things that people are talking to me about, and I want you to answer briefly, Prem, is China. Oh, China's banning Bitcoin. And I've shared that post you did the other day, which is an awesome post about who bans what, didn't ban Bitcoin. And JP Morgan, which you probably know very, very well from your days in the banking circle. Don't cringe. No swear words allowed on our hangout, mate, when you think about them. But first off, can you give us, everybody's worried, and I don't think it's with any sort of real understanding of what's really going on, but what China's saying, and people are panicking. My understanding, I'll give you my interpretation, that most people involved in Bitcoin, well, when you get Bitcoin, you can buy it and hold it for a year or 2 years, and then cash it in, make double your money. You can buy and trade it and sit on a computer and trade up and down, buy and sell, buy and sell, buy and sell. Oh, I should have held on. I should have sold there, should have bought there. All that, or Bitcoin mining, the engine room, the computer power, which we can continuously buy for year after year, because Bitcoin is getting bigger and altcoins are getting bigger. They're all following Bitcoin. They're growing. Our whole network is in its infancy in the last 2 years. It's going to explode. So our mining contracts are going to go on and on and on, because more and more and more computer power will be needed. So then, bang, we get hit with China last week, and then JP Morgan, the guy, what's his name? Can't remember his name. He puts his hand up.
Jamie Dimon.
Jamie Dimon, yeah. He puts his hand up, says it's a fraud. So can you give us a rundown on China, your thoughts briefly, Prem?
Briefly, okay, I'll try my best. So the first thing I'd like to say is look for the information, not the jargon around the information, right? So if somebody is writing something, try to see what are they saying, not what you think they are expressing. This is where a lot of people get carried away with politics and stuff like that, right? What is necessary to be understood is very different to what the reporter is trying to portray, because everybody is a little biased in some way or the other. China ain't banning Bitcoin. They never have. They don't see Bitcoin as a threat at all. How? Why is Bitcoin a threat to them? Is it a Western scheme to destroy the Chinese economy or something? No, not at all. China is the warehouse. They manufacture, we consume. You know, it's a healthy relationship that way, and it needs to keep going on that way. So cut out all the other things, and let's focus on the point. Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is unregulated because it is literally created by you, me, and Keithy. Okay, we the people on the internet passed a few white papers along a few years ago, and that's how Bitcoin was born, to those who were interested in the concept. More and more people started getting a clue, and its value kept going up and up. And now more and more people want to know more, and its value will keep going up. So it is people-driven. The network is fully distributed. So even if China would have to shut down the entire internet to prevent Bitcoin access. They would have to block websites completely in order to prevent their people from accessing Bitcoin. Why would they do that? They do that with Facebook for obvious reasons, because you can do a lot of anti-Chinese propaganda, and you can say a lot of things about the regime which they don't like, and fair play to them. They don't have to accept everything what others say about them. They want to run their own country in their own way. They have every right to do so. China appears to be a threat to Bitcoin simply because the Bitcoin community can act like a bunch of cowboys. Rowdy, unruly, drunken, people having a pub brawl. Someone has to bring order. You can't do that day in, day out. You wouldn't want to live in a town where that is the daily scene. You wouldn't want to send your family out on the streets if there's shooting going on left, right, and center. It's not the Wild West, right? So because there isn't any rules around it, a whole bunch of people decide, what if I launched my own coin? Or why doesn't Keithy come up with Keithy coin, right? Why don't I come up with Prem coin? So
Keithy
a lot of
coin's
people
launched on Monday. It's really, you are a mind reader, Prem. It's launching Monday. Keithy coin. There's a link below.
All right. Don't do that. No, but the point is, anybody can come up with a coin. Now, if I make enough noise in the market to get you interested, how do you buy a cryptocurrency, any cryptocurrency? How do you buy a fake cryptocurrency coin? You pay for it using Bitcoin. So I have collected all your Bitcoin and I've given you a bunch of junk. Now you feel cheated. You can't even go and complain to the police, because police will be like, well, it's not regulated. Who told you to do that, right? Who are you going to complain to? You're going to go to the regulators? Well, it's not regulated. The regulators have no jurisdiction over it. So China has concerns that these bunch of cowboys are just doing whatever they want. Initially, their concerns were, we want to know who are the people coming on exchange. Well, they don't want drug dealers and arms dealers and all these other criminals and organized crime. They don't want them to be listed on an exchange and happily and freely swapping the proceeds of crime in their paper cash, converting it into cryptocurrency, letting it inflate in price. They're making treble profit. First, they're not paying any tax on their illegal proceeds. Secondly, they're using it to wash it, laundromat it through the system. And then they're even making more profit through the cryptocurrency. So they have legitimate concerns. China is not bad news. The way the Chinese are reacting is a way what we should expect with everybody else if the cryptocurrency community doesn't learn to behave itself. And more regulation has to come at some point in the future, but that is not a threat, it's an opportunity. I'll give you a simple example. Yesterday's news, Malaysia legitimizes it. The article says Malaysia has legalized Bitcoin. Now it suddenly opens up, I think 130 million population of Malaysia has suddenly opened up to Bitcoin. And that's a good boost. It should really help over a period of time. But who is Malaysia to legalize something that is already legal? What makes you think Bitcoin is illegal in the first place? Why? Because you and we the people, decided to make that a medium of exchange? I'm sorry. If I wrote a letter and my letter, I gave it a signed value of 10 Aussie dollars, and I sent that letter to Keithy, that's my promise to Keithy for 10 Aussie dollars. Who are you to decide that that isn't worth anything at all? Who's anybody to decide? So why are we constantly looking at governments to legalize or legitimize something? On the other hand, excuse me, when they do, Australia has put together a whole set of rules around Bitcoin already. The Koreans have done that. The Arab countries, there's a few Arab countries that don't like Bitcoin because they're a bit nervous, but the majority of the petrodollar rich countries, they are okay with Bitcoin. India actually hasn't got a problem. The reason Indians are hesitant about Bitcoin is because they haven't figured out how on earth they're going to take bribes in Bitcoin. So, they need to find out how the grass is going to work. So, Europe, in Switzerland, Swiss universities will accept Bitcoin for tuition fees. Okay, Amazon.com, which is the non-Chinese biggest retailer in the world, they're about to take Bitcoin. They've already been taking Bitcoin in a few countries, but not worldwide. Now they're going to throw it open worldwide and say, you'll have anything you want home delivered if you pay us Bitcoin. Why are they doing that? Because it's not just a payment solution, it is a phenomenon that represents money. I hope that explains that China is not to be feared, first of all. These are normal reactions to when some cowboys come on the scene. Someone has to come in as the lawman, right? I don't know if you know this part of history, but Harvard University was originally a theological Christian seminary. Its motto was truth in Christ. Then the secular people came along and removed the Christ part, and now it just says veritas, truth. They produced lawmen who read the law, the Torah, the biblical law, and they were supposed to go and deliver justice in the Wild West and tame the bunch of morons that came across from various parts of the world for the gold rush. So when you say lawman in an American Western movie, it's usually a theological seminary educated gunslinger who's meant to bring law and order to a town and deliver justice because there was no court system established and in place at the time. And I only know this because, let's face it, I've had to deal with the highest level of Islamic scholarship, of Jewish rabbis, multi-million-dollar preachers, and secular people and atheists who are high achieving in their own right. Anybody from any religion can achieve, any belief system can achieve. The achievement aspect and success has nothing to do with your belief system. Yeah. You must want to achieve something in order to achieve. How you then apply it to the world is a function of your belief system. So I am not a religious person. Just if I mention a few things that sound familiar, I'm not a religious person. I have a faith, but I'm not religious. So just so you know, this is why I'm trying to tell you, read the word for what the word says, not what others' opinion about it is. And China is not to be feared at all. The mining network, there's the other point Keithy mentioned, the mining network is so well distributed, the ownership on a pie chart is worldwide. Nobody can shut it down. You'd have to shut down the internet in order to shut down the blockchain. And without the blockchain, there would be no Bitcoin. But the blockchain is a solution to so many different industries. They're only just scratching the surface. So the future, the bright future is yet to come, except, if Mr. Kim Jong, whatever, shoots off one, then we have a bit of a distraction in the system. But those distractions aside, geopolitics aside, the progression of cryptocurrency is practically unstoppable, because what it has done is, in an internet age, it has proved your Aussie dollar to be the fraud, your US dollar to be the fraud, and this to be legitimate because there is value assigned to it. And we can explain that. Please don't jump to conclusions. We can explain why. Because you can create printed money out of thin air just because some banker says, I promise to pay the bearer the sum of such and such. Yeah, well, whoopee-doo. Yeah, I would accept Aussie dollar only because whatever the market rate is. Why don't you accept another dollar called the Zimbabwe dollar instead? Why? Because in your perception, you don't think it has any value. You wouldn't. It's also a dollar. It's not a different currency. It's a dollar, right? But it's a Zimbabwe one. Why wouldn't you accept that? Because of what the market perception is. And if the market perception means anything, Bitcoin is one you definitely do not want to miss out on. Okay. I hope that was brief.
I think that was pretty good effort, actually, Prem. It's only about 10 minutes, but the comments, great explanation, good info, excellent explanation. You're getting across in broad terms of, and sometimes you need to be a little bit expressive like you are to explain these influences where, people are used, as you correctly say, people are on, these are little computers now. They're not mobile phones. They're handheld devices. They're a computer. They're a connection to the world, and people rely on them to get the news. NEWS, north, south, east, west, and all news is not good news. Some of it is fake news, like our mate Trump says. But, and right, you say, read the words and try and get the whole correct picture as best you can. So China, in some ways, is a doing the regulation of their own country, which has a bit of a flow-on effect for people to make a realisation what's going on. The price of Bitcoin dropped, and then it climbed back up once people realised what China's actually trying to say. Then we had another fluctuation with your mate from JP Morgan. So, mate, I know you're going to get upset with this, Prem, so no swear words. Just make this one real brief, because I want a couple more questions just before we finish, mate. We don't want to carry on too long. Go ahead.
No worries. Jamie Dimon is partially right. Okay, so let's start there. He says that governments will need to do something about this because you can't let it go on. I'll explain that in very simple terms, right? You're a drug dealer, you're doing something illegal. You've suddenly got cash that you don't want to declare to the government because you're not going to pay tax on peddling drugs. There's no such thing. You'll go to jail. So you've got that money. Now you go to a website called localbitcoins.com. Localbitcoins.com, you'll find somebody next door somewhere, maybe Adelaide somewhere. You go somewhere and exchange your cash physically, and they transfer Bitcoin onto your mobile device. Now you've just laundered money into a cryptocurrency. You then take that Bitcoin and you buy mining with it. Now your mining is giving you daily rewards. So instead of having just one Bitcoin straight away, you're earning it back over a period of time. And all of a sudden, you have just completely whitewashed proceeds of crime. This is a real and genuine concern, not just for the US government, but for all worldwide governments. Okay, so Jamie Dimon is right. He is wrong in saying that Bitcoin is worthless. That's a different discussion altogether. So we need to really pay attention to what is it, what bit of information do we really need to extract out of the discussion, rather than get carried away with all the brand new cryptocurrency experts popping up on Facebook every single day. Yeah, everybody's a guru all of a sudden. But the economic principles, the fundamental knowledge you need to have is actually very, very simple. You know, forgive my expression, but cut out the BS and get to the point. Jamie Dimon has a point. That regulation will come, except even if it comes, that isn't undermining Bitcoin's value. How is it? If in your town you have 1,000 people and only 2 people know about something, then they're the only 2 people that know about something. But if everybody knows about the same thing, now it's widespread, isn't it? So if you had 1 apple to share amongst 1,000 people, the highest bidder is going to get it. If you had 1 apple to share between 2 people, one could sell it to the other, and that's end of story. Nobody knows any better. So the larger number of volume of population getting involved, and the larger number of economies actually doing something about legitimizing and regularizing Bitcoin is good news for Bitcoin in and of itself. But along with that must come some kind of a brake pedal, something that calms it down. And Jamie Dimon, to that extent, is right. Where he's completely wrong is that obviously he is the CEO of a company that has paid, you know, close to $30 billion in fines, and he's never seen prison yet. And I can assure you the sheer devastation, not just JP Morgan, but my employer was a competitor to JP Morgan. We were bigger than JP Morgan all the time. Merrill Lynch, the bank with the bullhorns, that was my employer, and that eventually became Bank of America Merrill Lynch. So the retail guys, the farmers bought the castle basically, and you know, the retail bank swallowed the investment bank that was Merrill Lynch, and that became my new employer, Bank of America Merrill Lynch. So the label changed, that's all, and the attitude also in the management. Time to get out. But basically, the devastation JP Morgan caused in the US, there's plenty of people that have lost a lot of their lifetime's earnings. A lot of people become homeless because of the way they sold various packaged financial products. The sheer amount of enemy, and I don't believe in karma, but if you do, the sheer amount of karma attracted by the negative karma attracted by the banks is something someone is going to have to pay for. So as far as I'm concerned, the reason he's not going to jail is because everybody knows that he'll be made to drop the soap over and over again, and he will not have a comfortable time in jail. But the reason he's protected is because he represents now banks that are not just too big to fail, but they're too big to bail. Before they were too big to fail, so the government decided to print money. When the government decided to print money, that is basically short selling your future to save somebody else that is already proven to be a crook, which is the banking system I have come out of. So when the government prints money willy-nilly, it is literally auctioning away the future prosperity of your children. Yeah, look at it that way. If you can't understand it any other way, that's an easy way to look at it. They have auctioned away our future prosperity and those of the future generations by creating worthless pieces of paper out of nowhere. Jamie Dimon is one of the responsible people. He was on the board of the Federal Reserve, which is one of the biggest frauds organizations in the world. And that can be proven logically. Just because my ex-banking colleagues will not hear anything I have to say doesn't mean what I have to say is wrong. They just want to carry on with their jobs, not question the status quo, just not ruffle any feathers. Because right now, September, October, they're really putting in a lot of effort now. They're cleaning up their act because December comes the annual review and January is bonus pay time. So they don't want to ruffle feathers and they don't even want to challenge the fraud system that we've been handed. Australia itself was built by people who were capable of building something. I'm sorry to tell you this, look, I'm a native of somewhere as well. I'm a native of India. And I can take a fair amount of criticism about my people because we are not perfect. And we have flaws. Everybody has flaws. But I'll tell you this, none of my Indian countrymen come to Australia because of the culture and the values of the native Aborigines. No, they come there because of the infrastructure built by the leftovers of the British Empire. Okay, the prosperity there, you need a system in place that works and that works fairly for people. You need a legal system in place, you need proper justice, you need a proper administration in place, and you need laws and rules that help build an economy. This is exactly why nobody wants to go and live in Somalia, but Somalis would like to come and live in Australia. Simple logic, yeah? I hope I'm not offending anybody, but some things have to be said. Mostly, especially my fellow Englishmen, they're too polite. But I'm not English, so I can afford to be Indian. But this is where value comes in. Things that are great and prosperous and growth-oriented are built by people who want to achieve something, but then comes this prosperity that gets lost very easily. And we are in that phase in the US. People like Jamie Dimon, they take it for granted that they have to rule the world financially through the banking system. They say whatever they want. He's just manipulating it and he's just expressing his anger. What he's doing is he's revealing that they are the fraudsters. We, the people, have nothing to fear. So don't worry about bankers commenting. It's like, asking a butcher on surgical opinion. Don't even go there. Don't worry about it. Bitcoin is safe. All right.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Thank you. Well, we got through that one. That's two sermons on the mount. Jeez. I've never had so much information packed into 45 minutes, Prem. So I'll finish off. These have been the two main things of the last week. Every week there's something happening in our business in the Bitcoin mining area. Prices going up, fluctuating. As I just mentioned with coin cap, prices are on the up. It's all green. All the buying and selling is of a green nature. So any new business, and for us, Swiss Gold Global, we started Bitcoin mining through Genesis Mining back in November last year. So we're not even 12 months in. You're 15 months in with your gold and silver addition to that. Gold and silver is for wealth building. Most of the people joining Swiss Gold Global now are to earn an income. They want to earn from the mining. So there's going to be disruptions in this early phase. And when I'm saying early phase, I mean 1 to 2 years of the mining really becoming open to people very quickly for $30 US. This is the amazing part, that you can become a free customer and start your own business with Swiss Gold Global. I'm just started. What are you doing now, Kiwi? Well, I've started my own online business. Wow, how'd you do that? Well, I signed up for free. signed a 2-page document, and then I bought a contract for $30. And then what did you do? Well, I just didn't do anything because the money started coming into my Bitcoin account every day. Then I had a business plan of 180 days, which I'm on day 124 of, which is every time I get $30, I buy another one, $30, buy another one. And unfortunately, Bitcoin contracts are out of stock at the moment because there's been a rush in the last 6 to 12 months. So I've switched to buying Ethereum contracts. Ethereum's just jumped up 20% in the last 7 days. So that's going to start climbing. So I'm still earning every day. So the great thing about our business is there are other options: Bitcoin, Ethereum, Zcash is due back any day, Litecoin, Dashcoin. We possibly maybe get Monero, and we'll have 4, 5, or 6 products in our daily earning stable, and then you can use those earnings to build your wealth, your physical wealth, with gold and silver, which I know you're passionate about. So we're at an explosive part of the time. So to finish off, I'd like your I'd like your brief answer, please, Prem, a brief answer, please, of where you see your team, I'm in your team, new people coming into the business, Swiss Gold Global. Forget about what's going on at the moment. This is a very short-term thing, a week from now, 2 weeks from now. Let's go 6 months from now, the first instance, and then finish in 12 months. What can people aim for, drive for, strive for, plan for? Get, like you were at the start, get really fired up about all these distractions in China, this, JP Morgan, that. What should they be focused in on now for this week, next week, this month, 3 months, 6 months, 12 months? Brief answer, please, please, please. That's Indian. Give us a short one, mate.
All right, I'll time myself this time. So very, very simply, do not get distracted. If you're interested in money and money itself, and you want to do it honorably through a properly registered, correctly constituted distributor company like ours, Swiss Gold Global, it's very simple. Give yourself the time. First thing you need is to have some proof in the pudding. So get yourself the earnings going. If my team alone is a few thousand members now in under 1 year, well, just over 1 year, it is possible for anybody. I'm not a marketer. I mean, I've not been doing videos like Keithy, and I'm just not, I don't know how to figure things out. So I'm not really a marketer. But all I do is, I tell a story, and maybe too much of it, but, but I tell a story, and that's all I do. And so you could do that, And if you're shy, don't worry. There are many other ways of doing marketing. Keithy can show you some of the, ways and tricks of the trade, etc. But it's very simple. You have to get your feet wet. You have to be in the business. If you're not in the business, forget about achieving anything at all. If I can do it, anyone can do it. Trust me, this company, although it's 9 years old, it's still a baby in terms of the worldwide internet-based audience. The whole world is yours to go for. Now, there's a lot of opportunities out there in health, wellness, and cosmetics and everything else. And that's all fine. Ultimately, all those people need a solution with the earnings that they have from those businesses. You have that solution. You're dealing in money. If Bitcoin mining contracts have recently run out, that is because there was such a lot of demand for them that the supplier didn't have any supply left. The same scenario will repeat for gold and silver. You don't realize this. You don't see it. You don't look at the numbers the way I look at the numbers. But gold and silver will be impossible to get your hands on when the price starts shooting up. Yeah. So just by logic and the law of gravity, the markets that have created such a lot of mess and bubbles, when they start popping one after another, you're looking at a repeat of the 2008-2009 scenario when 400 banks vanished off the face of the earth. So 6 to 12 months starts with actually taking action now, not sitting on your backside and not doing anything. If you're going to procrastinate with the first stage, you're not going anywhere. I can assure you that. I've seen enough examples to tell you people who say, oh yeah, I'm really fired up now, yeah. And then the cares of the world take over, and then next thing you know, you're lost. So get going, earn Bitcoin mining or whatever is available. Right now, Ethereum is available. You can start earning even Ethereum right now. Earn Ethereum and have some income come in so you can boldly say, whoa, I've just made some money. If you can say that to enough people, they'll be like, so how's it going now? 2 weeks later, 3 weeks later. Some will be quick to come. Some will take their own time. Like Keithy, I've been trying to pursue him for ages, but he took his own sweet time because he was distracted in other projects. And there was no way I was gonna, arm wrestle him in. Eventually he came, right? But he came nearly a year after I was already in the business. I didn't give up for a whole year. If I had given up, there'd be no chance of Keithy being in my team. This is the best example I can give you. Keithy is up there when it comes to marketing and coaching people. I am down there when it comes to, the online marketing world. And yet Keithy is in my team and below me, not just 1, but 2 levels below me. Okay, why is that? That's because I didn't give up. So if I didn't give up, should you? People quit too easy. The dream of financial freedom is just a dream, and it's often a daydream, which is a dangerous daydream. It distracts you. If it is passionate enough, then I hope you can see, everything I'm trying to express to you and share with you comes from the heart. I'm not reading any script. And why is that? And why am I sharing this so openly with you? Why is Keithy trying to tell me, keep it brief, keep it brief? Because, you can't stop me. I have this passion to want to share what I have with you. You may not have the same passion for this, but you must have a passion for financial freedom. If you have that passion, you will make it happen. Earn for yourself, share with others, they will earn for themselves. Next thing you know, you got a business. It's as simple as that. Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's right. My brain hurts, Prem, with the information overload, passion overload. But you can't ever be short of passion overload.
Don't blame me for the suntan.
No, that's right. That's right. I've got a headache from all that sun beating down on my head. But it's all the vitamin D I'm absorbing. It's a plan of mine, Prem, that I put my head purposely in this hot sun in Australia to absorb the vitamin D, which drives my brain into overdrive and allows me the energy to stay up late, get up not so early, and get out with my dogs and talk to people about part-time passive income. My 4 favorite words: part-time passive. What are you doing, Keithy? Well, I do this, that, and the other, but I'll do a little bit on the internet, make a bit of part-time money doing that. How do you do that? Here's a bit of social proof. Friend me on Facebook, and here's some shots of this doing that. Here's a video. Watch that. Watch this Prem bloke. He talks a little bit for a little while longer than most people, but the information gained is what you need to hear. And if you need to spend another 15 minutes watching this hangout, because we're up to 55 minutes now, then take that little bit of time to get the knowledge that will help you earn as you learn. Now, we've learned, the people watching tonight, there's been a heap watching all these comments here. They've learned about China. They've learned about JP Morgan. They've learned about gold and silver going up soon, not just going up, skyrocketing. They've learned about the business, how you can grow after 15 months, a massive team of a couple of thousand people, just talking to people with little or no internet marketing experience. So this has been action-packed 55 minutes. We're gonna leave it there, Prem, because I know it's 5 to 8 now. If I let you keep going, mate, I'll have to turn the lights out. I'll have to go to bed and leave you talking. Are you there, Keithy? Are you there, son? No, I'm not. I'm gone. All right. Thank you very much indeed, Prem, for coming on tonight. Your knowledge is always well appreciated, well soaked up by me and everybody watching. And let's do this on a regular basis, because there will be more information coming through every week. And I think as we grow our audience, and we can share this in the main Facebook group, the corporate one, your group, my group here in Australia, we'll just grow the ears that are listening to the information. We'll get the information, we'll pass it on to people, and that's all we can do, and help as many people as we can. All right, Prem, Thank you, mate.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Keithy.
Enjoy your day, Prem. Good on you,
Will
mate.
do.
Okay.
Take
Cheers,
care.
buddy. See you, buddy. Everybody. See you
Bye-bye.
later. Bye-bye.